was the... Where was I? Oh.
Salvation, thy name is Prophet's Rest. After a proper meal and some time out of the sun, the makeshift fortress doesn't look half as grand as its name might imply. Yet, when I first sighted its walls from across the dunes, it may as well have been El Dorado itself, so grateful was I to find it. Thus far, I have seen little of the inhabitants, but they seem a hospitable sort. I've been given food, shelter, and even a wet cloth to clean myself with. Quite generous of them, considering how scarce water is in these lands. I had been pondering why Timur required the services of a doctor. He seemed to be in excellent health, and I had seen no patients since I arrived. Well, now I shall ponder no longer. Alas, Timur has a wife, and she's with child. He was so focused on celebrating his victory over one bloodthirsty raiders that he never saw his greatest Eureka! Desire. At last I have found signs of human life with rather quaint this afternoon. Vanquished, eyes bulging, some blood seeping. Either the child or the woman died during its birth. That is how I imagine it. I will forward state with my civilized they may be, but neither can I as the first two good burning Phoenix warriors succumbed to their poison. Whoever they are, I must track them down immediately. Edmundium and artifact strength. I shall pursue my quarry with the utmost haste and vigour. They ever did brilliant with impropriety that a gentleman and scholar of my shall not end this day. This desert is better off without them.
At least we provide each other with a little warmth at night, and her antics have helped to keep my spirits up. I suppose I'll need to give her a name.
Unbelievable. Have these idol-worshipping ninnies replaced all their common sense with blind devotion? Have years of oppressive
I'm
heat
on a
completely
roll.
addled their
By sheer
brains?
coincidence, I
I was
stumbled into
finally
another
allowed
group of
to see
survivors
the
today.
monastery's inner
And they didn't
sanctum,
try to
and
kill me
lo
or
and
anything.
days of travel,
There
they
they were. I
finally
didn't know how
arrived at the
probabilistic
burning
actually
phoenix
worked.
altar before a
I'd
flock
say
of
that this
protesting
recent
my
string of
primitive
good luck
peers were
is the
shuttling
universe making up for
artifacts,
sending me
just
to
like
the
the
bloody
ones I had
desert
found in the
lands.
caverns beneath the island.
The caravanners
I'd
were
heard
welcome,
tales of the
and the
once great
creatures there
Tartar
were
Empire, or
fascinating.
even studying
Though I had never
them.
travelled
They
These
seemed
half-wits are
dinosaurs,
praying
but they
to them.
also
By all
appeared to
appearances,
share some
Timur
biology
is
in
cut
common.
from the same cloth as their
Just
fabled
completely
Khan.
lost on these
For
simple
all
things.
its
He was
oddities,
at once
the island
imperious,
never had
It's
anything
time,
like that.
questioning
But I
me
finally
with
I'll
impatient
have to
enough
study
supplies and
further.
tools to
After
survive
all,
on my own.
All the
Loading
desert
them onto the
survivals
pressed camel
are
like
intellect
beasts
and
of burden was
gentlemanly demeanour.
laborious, but the real trial
Granted, he did not
was
say so
absconding
aloud,
with the artifacts.
but I was escorted to a small
There is
private
always
chamber
someone watching
instead of a
the
cell.
inner sanctum.
Surely,
So I
that says
carefully
as much.
studied the guard shifts until I identified whose drink I had to spoil with my knockout serum. Even then, I acted with great haste and guile, for my heist will surely be discovered when the
I'm
priests
definitely
convene
more
for their
prepared for
morning
this desert
prayers.
than before,
Alas,
and better equipped.
they will be
With
too
my
late.
Morella tops offering a
Sir
large
Edmund
mobile
Rockwell is
supply of
always
water,
ahead of his
and
foes,
radar looking
but
out
not
for
by a
us.
mere
The
stubborn
only
brutes.
threat I really have to
Despite a
worry
litany
about
of
is major
polite,
predators.
gentlemanly
miles.
requests,
Also,
they
giant
refuse
bowlers.
to allow me to
My
parley
hopes
with
that
their
the
leaders.
mantises would ignore the
Surely
village
any
where I'm
leader
from.
of men is not half the
And I
imbecile
think
that
we
these
all find
barbarians
ourselves
are.
in that definition the other day.
I am
To be
positive
honest.
that we
Took me
could
long
come
enough,
to some
despite
sort of...
all my
Oh,
sweet,
damn
and my
this
rifle felt
noise!
heavy and
It
foreign
is
to my
impossible
shape
to
and my
concentrate with
swarm
all this
advance.
insufferable whinging.
They weren't
Half
our
of these
own.
prisoners
The
won't
things
stop
that do
moaning
to
about
taste
one
the
injury
villagers
or another,
erupted
and the
in
other
cheers
half are in
as lightning
constant
and
hysterics.
fire tore through the advancing insects
Very
from
well.
above.
Perhaps if I
Some
tend to some of the
chanted a name.
wounded, it will dim
Wali
this
al-Aswad.
distracting cacophony.
The rider, still hidden behind black robes, didn't acknowledge the ovation. With swift efficiency, their small flight of wyverns decimated the mantis swarm and made for the horizon. Wali al-Aswad. I need to meet this person, if only to thank them. The Titanic Korkoi arachis is commonly called a death worm by the locals, though I'm not certain that it is actually a worm. It shares some similarities to some segmented worms. I may have to put my freshly polished marksmanship but its biology doesn't seem consistent with other members of the annelid phylum. Spotted a swarm of giant mantises the heading in our direction. Could not be more spot on. Korkoi is without question the apex predator of this desert. But the villagers have spoken it will devour anything that dares to set foot in the endless dunes, regardless of size or ferocity. Weapons or tools. Korkoi spends most of its time burrowed beneath the desert sand. So is the idea of emerging to the surface only to devour its prey in a single bite. While Lee believes that it was the only chance of surviving Korkoi attack is if its initial lunge misses, as it's momentarily immobile afterwards. Not that I'd have theoretically. That could provide a brief opportunity to escape its territory. I wouldn't count on such luck, practically beg her to take attempting to tame Korkoi will almost certainly result in
Most of my work as the monastery's doctor has been trivial.
Any survivors in
Every
this
now and
desert
then
should
one of the
avoid
guards
following
gets
my territory
injured
without
by the
being
local
lost.
wildlife.
After all,
It
but I
seems
usually
that
find
Prophet's
myself
Rest is less a fortress and more an enclave
As such, I
or
have had
monastery.
plenty of time to learn.
I suppose
all
that
the
would
priests
explain
know
the name. I may
about
have
the
given
obelisks.
Miss Walker too
Yet
much
as strange
credit.
as it may sound,
The natives have created a primitive village campsite centered around a They are unaware that not only did that sandstorm separate 3 times a day, but each time they faced me set up by none other than the traitorous Miss Walker biology of understanding. She would not recognize the artifact property of Edmundium if they hit her square in the forehead. How good it was particular reference to its proximity right through her as charmingly ignorant of their superstitions she is after my Edmundium genius. The only reason focusing on the wrong discovery from my corpse is that she requires my superior intellect to understand. Despite my limited equipment, I have managed to run some initial tests on the Edmundium. I can fill the role of the based on my observations, for a typical forge may not be enough to smelt a sample of Edmundium ore into any sort of usable ingot. I suspect that it has extremely strong metallic bonds, and therefore a much higher melting point than any conventional metallic element.
After doing so
I
much
must
for
find
me,
a proper
I was
base of
sad to see her
operations
go.
where I can run more
But at least
extensive
I got to see her
experiments.
smile before she
I
left.
mustn't be overeager,
Well,
however. I have
me
limited
and
samples.
I
I'm glad that I
can't
possess the
very well take
foresight.
the
I shall have to
little
ruminate on this later.
so
From
I
Miss
officially
Walker.
gave
A
her
sandstorm may be
attraction.
brewing, and I have no desire to be
I'll keep
caught
it
in it.
to each
Clearly
other, I think.
believes that I never learned of her betrayal.
I wrote Wali
By
up
cunningly
there.
taking
Twice.
advantage of this fact, I have
suppose old
managed to
habits die hard.
completely deceive
It's
the
not really her
deceiver.
name, is it?
The grim
I always
old
knew
bat
that
she
was the
travels
case.
with is another
But
matter.
she'd never told me to call
I
her
often
anything
catch
else.
her glaring in
It's
my
not until
direction.
weeks of searching.
Her eyes
Well, anyway,
sharp
finally
and
caught a glimpse
mistrusting.
of Wali al-Aswad. It was a pleasure
If
to
I
have met
could,
you. I knew I was getting
As
close.
absurd
do
as the
with
death
her
worms
as I
are,
dealt with
I see
Timur.
their purpose this morning.
But I
They're a
fear she's
natural
far too
barrier.
observant.
I spotted several
If this whole
wild
place
rays
is a
later in the
space
afternoon
station
with
posing
a lone
as
rider among
deception
them,
as best I can.
then it needs
The
to
rider
keep the
clearly
wildlife
saw
and humans inside
because soon
it
enough the
contained in a
wyverns
way
were
that appears
circling overhead.
natural. The
I
island
waited
of
on
Eldon
being
Green
wrong
by
about
simply
relating
calling
the
out
William's
William's
name
name
just
just
in
in
case.
case. And the desert
Earlier
does it
today,
via
with
the
so
death
much
much
of
very
the
new companions started
Wyverns
bouncing
route
around
and
so
a large
excited
population of
that it couldn't
predators
calm her
with
down.
ludicrous
Holly's
schemes
not
and
as
colourful
soon
names
enough.
would
Started
never
raining,
last long
but
in
I'm
a
not
place
letting them
as
off.
devoid
I brushed
of
that off
prey.
as a coincidence. But as this
isn't
isn't filling my
artificial
water skims
environment,
and setting off
the
once
station can
she
feed
started
or
acting
replace
skittish.
the death worms
I
as
decided to
needed.
find shelter just in case.
It's a little
And
convoluted,
within minutes,
but it
like
makes sense.
rainfall had turned into an electrical storm. I'll need to find more evidence to draw any firm conclusions, of course. But I wouldn't mind having a fuzzy little weather radar with me. You know, it's a little on the nose, but radar's not a bad name. some ways, surviving on my own was less work. At least then I wasn't conscripted into manual labor.
I must
My
say,
whole
nothing
body feels
reminds a
sore.
man of his own mortality quite like a
I bet
desolate
I wouldn't have
wasteland.
to work if I were as
I found it as a strapping young lad. I found it survived alone in this desert for
untainted
years.
samples of that
Well,
same
on one
mysterious
occasion,
ore
I
from the
thought of a
sanctuary.
Bengal
Rockwell
tiger
would
with
be
that
lured
fearsome
with
and
an
empty
empty
flask
flask
of my
guarding it.
favourite
I
pipe.
can
Thank
just
the
hear him
heavens that his
ranting about
More and his
makeshift
berserk
species
savagery.
land would
When
never
I
have a
leapt from the
prayer.
back of his wyvern, I thought he
hope
was
the old
surely
British
In my
doomed.
old
But
age,
Madman
I can
actually
feel his
managed to
jungle
grab
sun
hold of that
sapping
monster's
my
horns
strength
and
with
turn
every
its
nerve
eyes into a
ending of
bloody
that
mess.
unforgiving
Confound
gaze.
those
I've never
confused
seen such
contraptions.
I cover less ground than the
Despite
day
my
before.
many of his bands
I
did
could
not
make
survive
heads
heads
nor
nor
tails
tails
of
of
that
that
mysterious
mysterious
machine.
Progress
Without the
requires
right tools and
sacrifice.
supplies.
Still had that
Whether
she
those
truly
this
existed
expedition
or not
would be
was
incredible.
incredible.
Surely
little
helped
fanfare on my end.
Humanity leap
Apparently
into the
other side
future.
created quite the spectacle.
Geronde?
According to Waling,
The one that loved
It was
tinkering
easy
with
for
the
her to spot
devices
from
we'd
atop her
salvaged from
wyvern,
the arms of the
and she
island's
started
less
tailing me
fortunate
soon afterwards.
inhabitants.
I guess
Good
her timely
lad.
interventions were no
The
coincidence.
inscriptions he
Those
found in the
survivors didn't
inside
come
of
to
those
surprise
little
natural
trinkets
reptiles
were where I
by
first
visits,
saw
their
the word
guardians. I
ark
believe that
written
Moloch
on the
Sagittarius is actually a relic
Shame
station.
about the
Is the
incident.
Australian
Either
she
she
knows more than she's saying,
If I still had his services, perhaps I'd
besides
never
the
be in
obvious
this
guide out of
godforsaken
size.
desert.
Most of the differences
Oh,
between
well.
Moloch Sagittarius
Stiff upper lip, Rockwell.
I can't believe
Make
it.
the best of it.
While Lee spotted
Instead of
someone
being
wandering in the
permanent
desert
parts
the
of
other
its
day,
skin,
and it
Moloch
turned out to be
Sagittarius
none
thorns
other
are more
than
like
Edmund
Colossus
Rockpetrum
quills.
is like no
Can be
creature I
just
have
about
ever
burst into
encountered.
tears when I recognized
There
him.
is no
It is
biological
even
or
apparently
historical
he heard
reason
my
for
voice
his holding me
tail
captive.
as a
Its
mechanism
nearest
to
relative
negotiate my
exists
release.
only
And
in
examination
legend. That
of
led
these
him to
projectiles
mythical
has
statues
revealed
that
that
can
clearly
come to
he
life,
wound up
like
here
the
for
Golem of
poison.
Prague.
Despite
That
its
makes
dangerous
it all the
flight,
more
Moloch
dangerous.
Sagittarius has
What
proven to
survivor
be
could
an
possibly
extremely
expect
while
in a
seemingly
seemingly
benign
benign
rock
rock
formation
formation
ranged as
far
suddenly
away
from
from
spring to
spring
life
to
and
life
attached
and
minded?
Fortunately,
Fortunately,
that was
other
Colossus
creatures are taking
Petrum's
enemies
massive
while he
size
arrived at
makes
the
it
scene
quite
to
slow to
track
track
him.
him. So I would
Moloch
advise most
Sagittarius
survivors
is
that the
able to
flea
gather
may
wood
have
rather
taken
than
encountering
time
it in
as
the wild.
well.
Making it more than just an
Colossus
option for
Petrum's
combat.
among the
Among
most
the
mysterious
mysterious
and
and
nearby
nearby
creatures,
creatures while in its dormant state.
much of what is known
which
to
consequently means that its origins which have been told through generations. If
These
undisturbed,
myths have often
it can
changed
maintain
through the
this hibernation
passing of time,
ad infinitum,
but one constant
but it will
is the
viciously
belief
attack
that fire
anyone who
represents
encroaches upon its
cleansing and
territory.
renewal.
A
The
solitary
phoenix
creature
embodies this
Colossus
process
Petrum
through
lives
its alone
everlasting
and
cycle
will not
of
even
death
protect
and
its own
renewal.
kind.
Extreme heat
If
waves in the
somehow
desert
tamed,
seem to initiate
Colossus
the
Petrum
rise
could
of the
prove to
phoenix,
be an
while the
invaluable
end of
asset,
this so-called
particularly in a
superheat
siege.
precipitated the
Only
creature's
armor-piercing
reversion
rounds
into
or
ashes.
explosives can
While
harm
the
it at
phoenix
all,
seems
and it will
ambivalent to
handily
most
smash
wildlife.
through stone structures.
If provoked, its ferocity is evident in
Of
its
course, while
ability
he
to
lives
set
on a bloody
targets
mountain.
aflame with a
Of
single
course they
bite.
do.
Attempting
their
to
wyverns
pacify a
land at
phoenix
the summit
is
yesterday.
quite
They
literally
haven't
playing
left.
with fire.
The
The
existence
phoenix
of
must
this
continue
continues
to set ablaze in
disappoint
order to be
us,
tamed.
unfortunately.
Is both
I've seen
fascinating
many
and
turn into
dust
too
too
narrow
narrow
for
for
my
my
means.
Not only is Impusa
So after
utterly
he's
the
been
kind
pacified,
insect to have
the
developed
phoenix
an
should know
ability
one's
by
vitality,
gravity,
allowing
allowing
it
it
to
to
grip
grip Not that I
objects,
can
although
really
its
afford to
compact
worry about
size
it, but it
prevents the
possesses
phoenix
level
level
of
of
intelligence.
kicking my
Its
ass
aggressive
unrivaled
strength
among
has proved
non-human
to be
species.
invaluable in battle.
I have even
found
found
clear
class
climbing a
it can
mountain
quickly
in the
roast
bloody
up
desert
tasty
when
cooked
communicating
meat
and
with its
refine
own
raw
kind,
ores at any
as though
time,
it is
as a living
actually
furnace.
using
Some kind of dialect. I would love to study these interactions in depth, but observing Impusa up close is extremely dangerous.
I remember now.
Its size,
The dragon had a
intelligence,
rider.
and ability to
Rather,
pounce on its
the
prey
wyvern
from a
did.
great distance
2 legs
means that
it's a
one
wyvern.
could be quickly swarmed and killed upon detection.
I long for the days when
Fighting
I
to
thought
survive
a
and
Tyrannosaurus
still frolicking
frolicking
through
through
the
the
snow
snow
was
though
the
a
height of
dangerous
absurdity.
task.
The rider was covered up
Compared to
to
yesterday,
can prove
that
highly
seems
beneficial.
commonplace.
Could it be Mayen? Its
As the
unique
scout
claws
had
allow
so
it to
known.
quickly
I
melee
cannot
weapons.
wait
Like
to be
swearing
rid
in
of
a
that
hive,
glowering
alive,
menace
and
of the
alive,
wolf.
much less
and
harvesting
in
The
the
so-called
of a massive
Wali
bipedal
ala
gorilla,
Squad.
and
Much
exceedingly
quieter since
entertained
I
the
suspect
meanest
the
thing
feeling
here.
I was
is
too
the
shocked to
case.
scatter like the others when it
She has
charged.
offered little in the way of
for a
well,
moment,
while seeing us to this ark's entrance with the starlit,
then something
sanctuary.
even more ludicrous
Things will be much easier once Miss Walker and I have parted ways with the Desert Witch, I suspect.
It came from the
Miss
mouth
Walker
of
is
a bloody
thoroughly
dragon
oblivious to
mountain.
both the
I don't
wonders
recall
of
much
Mundium and
fear
my
and
knowledge of
instinct
her
pretty much took over
underhanded
for the rest
scheme
of the
back on
day.
the island.
Is definitely
She
no
can
guide
continue to fiddle with trinkets and relics.
particular
I
room.
may even assist her
about how the
in
gods
some
together and fly too close to
Meanwhile, I shall
as I avoided
unlock
that
the
subject
secrets of the
represents
most
different
extraordinary
experiments,
element in the
surprising
universe,
reset
right under her nose.
I had to the
need to
desert.
be patient
grim though, isn't it?
Why the hell did I
Yikes.
pick the desert?
Well, I suppose pick is a rather strong word for it. I'm still not entirely certain just how I got that console working, but it suddenly started cycling through holographic images of different destinations far from the island that I'd been living on. Of course, I just had to go and press another button while it was showing off one that contained miles and miles of bloody desert. And here I am. That's just typical of me, isn't it? Always leaping, never looking. Oh well, better make the best of it. And by that, I mean better not die of heat exhaustion. Now that Wali has deemed my wyvern riding skills acceptable, she's finally agreed to show me around the region. From what I can gather, Wali has been here for a very long time. Maybe longer than Rockwell was on the island. She knows the history of every village and ruin. Apparently there was once a great city to the southeast, but it was wiped out at some point. She's still coy on a lot of the details, but I'll just have to keep prying. Radar's been helpful in that regard. Wali definitely seems to be in a better mood when the fuzzball's around. That little Chalmers certainly earned her keep. Time to go over the facts. Like the island, this desert is a space station posing as a natural environment. It is inhabited by a large population of dangerous, genetically engineered creatures, and a small population
My
of
hunting
humans
skills
that are
are
struggling to
seriously
survive.
out of practice.
This whole environment is
Not that
then
I was ever
deliberately
spectacular,
contained by
but
a
I feel like
combination
I'd
of
graduated
holographic
from
horizon
smashing
and
bugs with
natural
a rock
barriers.
at some point.
At least I was
Assuming the other
thoroughly
space
rewarded for my
stations are at
efforts.
all similar.
My hunch
Today
was
I
this
caught a
whole thing
glimpse
is
of what the
starting to
caravanners
these big
call
grand
the
bastards
and
are
carrying
experimental
people
on a
around
the
their
desolate
bales.
sea of
And
sand
thank
that
goodness
apparently
for that.
surrounds the
Each
livable
station
portion
may have never
of
known
the
experimental
red rope,
times.
and
Now
since
those
those
tunes
tunes
can't
can't
literally
literally
be
I'll
endless.
have to continue this later.
Far less
but it's
useful
easy
when
one of the
time
caravans
flies
once
down
too
the
turned in a panic. I may
Not
be
only
finding the
is
inevitable
talking
stretch
about
to the
rocks
horizon.
being
I'm still on
alive, but
foot,
they're home to
which is of
still
course
get
ridiculous.
this. Giant sandworms that will devour anything that sets foot in their domain.
I laughed that off at first. Then I saw a creature, the size of a train, burst up from the sand and devour a wild Morellatops that had wandered into its territory. I suppose I'll just have to learn to walk without rhythm.
The obelisk is reacting to the presence of the artifacts with even more intensity than I expected. Each obelisk on the island required 8 artifacts to generate that sort of response, not 3. In other words, I may not need to do any spelunking before summoning whatever terrifying beast this ark has in store for me. Ah, the beast. Now that poses an entirely different conundrum. Even
At
with my
last,
youth and my
I
favorite
can hear
pipe, I
myself
doubt that I could slay a monster
The
such as
guards
that
have
dragon
moved
Mr.
to a
Nerveful.
private cell.
And while they
Not
have
alone
not divulged the reason for my
I
transfer,
shall need to find
I
a partner
suspect
for
they
this
took
venture.
notice of my
Rockwell,
medical
old bean,
expertise.
you've done it
I
again.
caught them staring in
Both
my
mother
direction
and
on
child
several
made it
occasions
through.
as I worked. Timur is a proud
It
father,
seems the
and your head
doctors
is
are in
still
high
attached to
demand
its
in
shoulders.
these lands.
Why, I
suppose
was
that's
even
no
a
great
guest of
surprise.
honor at Timur's
The island was no
celebratory
different.
feast. No matter.
I cannot say
While
I
my
enjoyed
skills
the
in the realm of
blood
medicine
sport
are
that
more in
serves as
line
the
with a
burning
phoenix's
field medic than a true
entertainment,
physician, but the food
I shall
was
continue to
delectable.
It has
play
been
the
several
role.
days
I was
since
also
I
sure
left
to
seize
seize
upon
rest,
Timur's
and I have
momentary
seen no
goodwill
sign of
by
pursuit.
filling his ears with
I am
whispers of
unsurprised.
obelisks,
They probably
artifacts,
assumed that
and
I
the
would make for the
untold
blue
power they
obelisk, as
grant
it
to
was
mortal
nearest.
men. By setting out for the green obelisk
take my
instead,
aim for those
I
thoughts
already
simply
have the
extraordinary,
simple might
but
with
with
zealous
it is
and
warm to
care.
the
As I
touch.
said,
I may
my
yet
during
turn
these
him
cold
into my
desert nights
mighty
and its
general.
pulses. With
as
those
though it
fools
has
out
its
of the
own
way, I can slow
It
my
is at
pace
once
light
and
and
take
more
some time
sturdy
to
than
properly
any
study
natural
these
material I have
so-called
encountered.
sacred relics
The
of
uses
theirs.
one could find for such a
I am
substance.
curious
to see if the materials
I
they
shall
are
have to
made
name
of
it
bear any
somehow.
similarity to the metal
What would do?
in the starlit sanctuary. Rockwellium? Idmundium? A dilemma for another time. For now, I have more pressing matters. Timur and his burning phoenix savages have played their part, and I cannot remain in their custody. It is time for the great warrior chief to receive his just reward.
Morellatops dromedarius seems to be a relative of both the Morellodon and Ceratops genuses, which in itself is rather strange. On top of that, it has developed the ability to store water in its humps like a camel. This makes it a critical part of the desert's food chain, as it provides predators with both food and hydration. When survivors discovered how to tap into the water in the Morellatops humps without harming it, the docile creature became the desert's essential pack animal. Not only can it carry a good amount of weight, but it can provide survivors with a large, mobile water source that can mean the difference between life and death on any given journey. Morellatops has limited options when it comes to self-defense, so I would not recommend taking one into combat. However, so long as survivors don't forget to let Morellatops stop by a well every now and then, they will find the creature an invaluable companion. Scutinphora putus is a fast-flying insect that comes in two varieties, visually distinct only in the red or green markings on its exoskeleton. Biologically and behaviorally, they are practically the same. The only real difference between the two is the resource they gather in the expandable sacs on their backs. Scutinphora with green markings gather water, and Scutinphora with red markings gather oil. This unique ability makes Scutinphora a target for both the desert's natural predators and human survivors. Finding a green Scutinphora at the right time could prove to be life-saving, and survivors can use the oil produced by red Scutinphora for a wide variety of purposes. Like many of the insects on the island, Scutinphora cannot be tamed. Beyond the resources obtained while hunting it, survivors will find no use for it. I don't think Rockwell's been sleeping much. I awoke last night to find him studying a strange piece of metal by firelight. I guess some tribe gave it to him as a gift, along with a very familiar-looking artifact. There's no replicating. I insisted that we show those items to Wally for seeing a sunrise, and she recognized them as the property of this station's lone guardian. Started these wyvern riding sessions she knows, just to give herself an escape hatch when our conversations get too personal. Before, but I can't say I mind. Sounds like the old battle axe has even slain the beast herself. Riding a wyvern is just as pleasant as riding Guardian's artifact, even without Wally says that we can leave the station at any time. No matter. Suppose we may as well. Genetically engineered or not, they are magnificent creatures. And as much as I like Wally, it's a risky proposition. I've had my fill of sound, but I absolutely must observe them in the wild sometime. I can't pass up an opportunity like that. Scutinphora putus is a fast-flying insect that comes in two. The existence of a creature such as Impusa discipulus is both fascinating and frightening. Not only is Impusa the only recorded insect to have developed an opposable digit, allowing it to grip objects and use tools, but it possesses a level of intelligence that is unrivaled among non-human species. I have even found clear patterns in the sounds Impusa makes when communicating with its own kind, as though it is actually using some kind of dialect. I would love to study these interactions in depth, but observing Impusa up close is extremely dangerous. Its size, intelligence, and ability to pounce on its prey from a great distance means that one could be quickly swarmed and killed upon detection. Caution is recommended. Though a dangerous task, successfully taming Impusa can prove highly beneficial. Its unique claws allow it to wield melee weapons like spears or pikes in battle, and use tools while harvesting resources.